First question from Jenna Fryer. Go ahead, Jenna.
Hey, good morning, Kevin. The last round was the wild card round because of the difference of the tracks. What is this round? What are the characteristics of it, and what are the challenges?
Well, I think the challenges are just the typical round of 8. I think as you look at the playoffs in general, you just have to be prepared for anything. I think as you look at Kansas, it's it's kind of a tweener, I guess you could say, as far as the 550 package goes. You have a high wear racetrack with the low drag package or the high drag package. So you have to decide how much downforce and things you want in your car. Obviously the temperature is a lot different as we go to Kansas this weekend, so it won't be like it was the first race with the higher temperatures. Texas is it's been a good racetrack for us, but it's also much different than what you want at Kansas, and then you throw in the short track at Martinsville. So you've got a little bit of everything. But like you say, the last round was definitely unique and had a lot of twists and turns as we went through all the different types of racetracks.
As the stakes get higher and the championship is on the line, does an internal pressure start to build either within the driver or the team as a whole?
There's really no change for us. We've been here, done this. We know what's in front of us. You go and prepare, and that's why we've stuck with the attitude of trying to playoff race every week, and the expectation is to go out and be competitive, and if you're not, come home and figure out why and try to address it and move on to the next one. So it's survive and advance at this particular point. You just have to see what the first week brings and then go to the next week and try to do the same thing, and in the end you want to try to win. That's the safest path forward. So hopefully we can do that and put ourselves in a good position and try to move on to Phoenix.
Great, thanks, Kevin.
Thank you.
Okay, our next question will come from Dustin Long. Go ahead, Dustin.
Thank you. Kevin, I'm curious, with the success that you've had in the playoffs with winning races, bouncing back with your back against the wall, reaching the finals so many times, how much of the success you've had in the playoffs do you feel like has helped extend your career to give you the opportunity to go to this point and further? I mean, if you despite the regular season success, if you hadn't had success like this in the playoffs, could you be in this type of situation?
I think that's the one thing that I try to explain to all the younger racers. An extra 100,000 people on Twitter isn't going to make you stick around longer. Performance on the racetrack is really the bread and butter of what we do. And no matter if you have, a funny personality or, you have, a famous last name, it doesn't matter in the end. And, Danica Patrick is probably the best example that I can think of. That is just the fact of having the results on the racetrack. And I think every week we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to figure out why we didn't run like we did or why we ran like we did in order to try to continue that trend forward. So look, I like what I do. I like my team more than anything. And that's really the driving factor in what makes all of this go around, is having a team that believes in you. And I have an organization that believes in me, and we've been fortunate to have a lot of success on the racetrack. So look, in the end, it's the same in every sport. You have to be successful at what you're doing. Getting caught up in the rest of it is good in the down times. And, I think for me, I learned that at RCR, and however you choose that in those down years is, sometimes we ran well in the Xfinity car, and that kept us relevant, to keep racing on the Cup side. And sometimes you caused headlines in order to keep yourself in the mix and move yourself forward. So, but fortunately now it's really just about the results, and having all that side chatter, kind of put to bed takes a lot of things, away from the equation that just make it simpler. We can concentrate on trying to be good on the racetrack, and in the end that comes with a team and people around you that can get the job done and believe in what you're doing.
Thank you.
Okay, next question will come from Bob Pockers. Go ahead, Bob.
Yeah, Kevin, after the race the other day, you said that you need to run better in this next round. Is there any reason to think you won't run better?
No, I think these racetracks, are right up our alley. So, especially the first two. I think as you look back, the Roval has been a good, decent racetrack for us. The last couple of years, it was fine this weekend. I got us behind, running into the back of the car and trying to figure out what I needed to do, in the wet conditions. And in the end, we had a 6th or 7th place car. And I think as you look at that, it was fine. Talladega, it's just Talladega, and Vegas, was, we just missed it a little bit. So, yeah, I mean, I think as you line up the first two races, I think they're definitely right in our wheelhouse.
And I also want to get your thoughts on Jimmie Johnson as far as when he went on that tear of winning 5 consecutive championships. What did that tell you about him as a competitor and a driver?
Well, I think you guys have heard me talk about this before. Not only is he a good driver, but he had a great team. And, I think, Jimmie would be the first one to tell you that it takes all those people around you to make the car go fast, because you can't drive a slow car fast. But, I think, still being in that position to have to perform at that level, and you saw him do it in so many different ways, as the dominant car, as the car that was behind, on the years that he was expected to win, he won. And, they just, on the days that you didn't expect them to be around, they won too. So, but that takes a lot of focus and a lot of attention to the details of what's going on, and, to perform in those types of scenarios. So he's had a great career. And in the end, it's, for me, it's really not about Jimmie on the racetrack. It's always been about Jimmie off the racetrack, because of the fact that everything he does, good or bad, is handled correctly. And he's just that type of role model that every sport needs. And when you have a young athlete that you want to point in the direction to say, how should I do this? You point him in the racing world, you point him in the Jimmie Johnson direction, because of the way that he's done it.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Woody Kane. Go ahead, Woody.
Hey, Kevin. As a former team owner yourself, there's been a lot of talk about the new next-gen car, the 2022, drawing new ownership to the sport. From an economic standpoint, what are you seeing there? And from a driver standpoint, what would you like to see in that car when it gets on the track?
I've not even seen the car. I'm a very short-term focused type of guy, and that's really just how we approach things. And I think there's been a lot of time and a lot of effort by a lot of people put into the car. So I'm looking forward to eventually getting to drive it. I think from the economic side, there's obviously something to the economic side that I don't particularly know is coming or understand, because there seems to be a ton of new interest for some sort of reason in the ownership side, which is great for all of us. But I don't think it's a coincidence that it's all happening at once because of the new car. It's cost, there's obviously something that makes the economics of it make more sense with all these folks wanting to jump on board. So that's great for everybody. And I think that was part of the intention of where we were headed with cutting things back and trying to make it more, friendly from the financial side. So, it seems to be, that plan seems to be working, which is great for everybody.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take our next question from Michael Sheldon. Go ahead, Michael.
Thank you very much. Well, Kevin, many would say that this new schedule sets up in your favor. You've won the last 3 playoff races at Texas. You've previously won 3 races in a row at Phoenix, and you haven't finished worse than 5th in the last 5 Phoenix races. I just wanted to know, in your mind, what is the one intangible, what's the one X factor that you think is going to carry you over the top this year, as opposed to when you have finished 3rd in the standings the last 3 years?
Well, we haven't won 3 races in a row at Phoenix. I know that for sure. But I can tell you that obviously Texas has been a good racetrack for us. Kansas has been decent for us. But right now we're focused on Kansas and trying to get us as good, solid of a day as we can from a point standpoint, and hopefully put yourself in a position to have a chance to win. So, it's definitely 3 or 4 racetracks, however you want to look at it, that lay out better than the last 3. So that's a good thing.
And just quickly, just wanted to get your thoughts on Clint Boyer announcing his retirement and what it's been like for you having him as a teammate.
Clint's entertaining, that's for sure. Obviously for me, it's a little bit different just because of the fact that, I've had 2 of them retire on me now in the 14 car with Tony and Clint. So, Clint is a person who has been a lot of fun to be around. I've enjoyed racing around Clint. I think he's going to be in a position that really puts him in a spot to, let us all be entertained by the Clint Boyer that we all know. But look, Clint came on board, I think, in 2004 or 5, and we traveled testing cars and having fun and learning how to race. And he knew how to race when he got there. He just needed to figure out the asphalt side of things, at this particular level. And he could do it and wound up in a cup car shortly thereafter that. So it was, definitely has been a great run, with where Clint started and where he is today. And I think, for all of us, I think it's great to have him in the booth at Fox, and will be fun to hear what he has to say.
Yeah, just to clarify, when I said 3 races and wins in a row at Phoenix, I meant the fall races from 2012 to 2014, just to clarify. But nevertheless, good luck for you. Good luck to you this weekend, Kevin.
Thank you.
Okay, we're going to take one final question from Greg Engel. Go ahead, Greg.
I shall make it one final so you can get on with your day, kind sir. You're talking about the sponsorships, and you've watched 2 people retire from the 14 car. So you've been around long enough to see this whole sponsorship model change. There's no full season multi-year sponsors anymore. And of course, not being a team owner yourself anymore, you don't really have to worry about it. But do you think we could ever see that model come back again, where we have full year sponsorships, multi-year sponsorships, especially in 2022?
I do not. I think that the sport has changed, and I think for me, one of the biggest reasons that I am still here is, we've been heavily involved on a day-to-day basis of trying to make sure that our sponsors are happy. I think that's the biggest thing that we've done correctly through the last 20 years is really understand the relationship with the sponsors and understanding that, you need to have that line of communication that is open on a weekly basis in order to make sure that you are where you are and everybody's happy. So especially in today's world, when you have so much turnover in a lot of these companies and getting to know the new people, and just making sure that it all works for everybody. I mean, that's really what it boils down to. You can't just jump in, drive the car, and hope for the best on the sponsorship side. You need to understand, that there are a lot of moving pieces to the sponsorship side. And I think, from the team ownership side of the days when we really, are on the front side of this model of placing sponsors one race at a time, turning them into 3 or 4 or 5 races, and developing these relationships. And you look at, Anheuser-Busch, we've had for a decade. We've got a great relationship with them. We've been through, what most people thought was a crazy brand change within Anheuser-Busch that turned into one of the greatest sponsorship moves in the sports history, just because of the fact that, Busch is so intertwined with our fans and just it's right up NASCAR's alley of that type of sponsorship, and it basically come in and activated and done things at a level that really most people aren't doing from a sponsorship side of things. And then you look at Mobile and Hunt Brothers Pizza and all the folks that we have on our car that have been there for a while. Obviously we switched manufacturers, but I think as you look at Ford, it really fits that style of company that we've had. So most of the sponsorship that we've had, even on the personal side of things, from Easy Go to Wiley X and a lot of those brands that have been with us for a long time on the Morton Building side, a lot of those are, you're looking at, some over a decade. So it's been, those relationships are what help keep everything headed in the right direction when you have the proper funding.
So quick follow-up, and I promise to let you go. You talked earlier, kind of piggybacking on what Dustin said, you talked about 100,000 followers isn't going to make you stick around longer. And I think most people would agree with that. It's the performance on the track, but some of those sponsors are going to look at your social media presence and things you do away from the track. So is it just as important as in terms of sponsorship side as performance on the track, or the performance on the track is the number one?
If you win races, you'll gain more followers on every platform. I promise.
Thank you, my friend. Have fun
Yep.
this weekend.
All right, Kevin, we always enjoy spending a few minutes with you. Thank you again for your time, and we wish you the best of luck this weekend in Kansas.
All right, guys. Thank you. Have a good day.